Hey, it's Wes, and I'm coming back with our next video in our series of why to play. And of course, this series is really designed for newer players who are trying to figure out what color deck they want to play and where to start at within Magic the Gathering, especially within Arena. So far, we've covered white, of course, which is really mostly, we kind of talked about how what I like about the most is the creature aggro type decks. We've talked about blue, the control. We talked about black, the various things that black can do. Hand manipulation of your opponent, and of course, board manipulation, creature removal. And now we are going to talk about red. And you're probably thinking, okay, I knew quite a bit about white. And the thing is, red's actually my favorite color in Magic the Gathering. That's weird coming from a person that plays white all the time. I just really love white life gain, and I have played a lot of white and red decks. And it's kind of funny, like for instance, I had to throw together a black deck. I had other black decks, but one that really kind of summarizes black into one simple color. But in red, I've already got that. I didn't even have to throw together a red deck. I'm just going to jump right into some of these decks I've had before. Now, red does have the small aggro creatures like white does, but like for instance, I have this aggro-ish deck that I built, which is mostly creatures. And you see that definitely exists within red, but it's not what I like red for the most. I like direct damage. That is something to me that is just absolutely fantastic. And if you take a look at this deck is nowhere near anything meta. It is a pure cheese deck. Back in the day when I first started playing, I think it was in the Wrath cycle roughly, Weatherlight Wrath, somewhere in there. One of the most popular spells everyone was running was Lightning Bolt. 1 mana, 3 damage. The closest thing we have right now, and there's a couple others, I think there's one that's got the Frostbite. If you've got, I think it's control 3 or more snow permanents. Yeah, it's right here. This particular one, it does 3 damage. That's pretty close. But Shock, of course, it does 2 damage to any target. Cinderclasm does 1 damage to each creature, and if it was kicked, it deals 2 damage instead. These are all cheap, super efficient spells. Fire Prophecy costs 2 mana, does 3 damage to a target creature. Scorching Dragonfire, 3 damage for 2 mana. Thrill Possibility. It's kind of cool because this card here actually gives you the ability to do a card draw. In fact, allows you to draw 2 cards. Bombard, 4 damage to target creature. Ingenious Inspiration. Love this card. Deals 3 damage and allows you to learn. Do I even have anything in the sideboard? Yeah, I do. Environmental Sciences, Introduction to Prophecy. So card draw is what I've got there. Ingenious Inspiration goes over to Chandra. We'll come back to her in a moment. And then Crackle with Power. Crackle with Power, if I could ever actually pull this card off in an actual game, would be amazing. This deck, though, it's nowhere near meta. But it is something I enjoy. Whenever I just want to play some cheese, this is what I jump into. And I don't play this in ranked. I play this just to play. And I love this deck. It is total cheese. But it's great. So let's look at Chandra. I love Chandra. Great Planeswalker. Wish they did, a little more with her. Kind of like, Liliana's really gotten a lot of love. Now, to be honest and fair, though, Chandra got a lot of love and attention in the past. So, of course, now we're going to Rowan and Will, her brother, and I think that's going to be your red mage for a while. But anyways, if you take a look at Chandra, just +1 deals 3 damage to each opponent. That's fantastic. If you had her in a EDH game, Commander game, that would be just, everybody would want to kill her right away. That would just be annoying, let's be honest. Just every turn, guaranteed 3 damage. You take 2 loyalty points off of her, though. You may cast target red instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. If that spell would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile instead. That is fantastic. All of these various spells here, you can still cast having her in play. That's just phenomenal. And of course, -8, if you can get there. I have never been able to get a Planeswalker to being able to use their highest powered ability. It allows you to discard your hand, then draw 7 cards. Until in a turn, you may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. I don't even know how that works yet with Crackle with Power. I want to find out. I've heard supposedly if you have to pay an X, it won't allow you to or something. I have no idea. But I'm hoping to see how that plays out, even if I lose the game because I do it stupidly. I want to find out. But man, I tell you what, I love red. Red's actually my favorite color to play. Direct damage is fantastic. I love it. It's a wonderful. It's a rush. My white deck, that white life gain deck, I love it also, and it's a bit more meta. But these red decks that I've got, I can't tell you how much I love them enough. I'm going to just show you one other one I've got. Of course, you got Shock, the Fire, Prophecy. I've got Forbidden Friendship. The reason why, it's a sorcery, but it puts creatures into play. I've got Run Amok. Every time I play against a red deck, in the back of my mind, if they're attacking, I've got it in my head that they have got that in their hand. So that's something that I always keep in mind. You've got Bombard again, Goblin Gathering, which is another sorcery. Spell Gorger Weird, and Pyroceratops. Oh my gosh. These two spells right here have got the same ability where anytime you cast a non-creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So you can amp them up very, very quickly with this deck. And of course, I've got Double Vision. I don't know how many times I've had Double Vision in play. Attack with a 2/2 or a 2/3, drop Run Amok on them, and all of a sudden they get an additional 6/6 on them. And that's just fantastic. Chandra, of course, is in this deck as well. She's just too good to not have. And I really wish in my white deck I had a really, really good Planeswalker. But as of right now, I don't. But this deck, I just love it. I love red. I think red's one of the funnest colors to play. If there is a reason to play red, it's because if nothing else, it is fun. I'm going to show you one last kit. This is, of course, Winota. I don't have this deck. I would love to have this deck, but it is a very, very heavy control white-red deck. And basically, that's exactly what you get with this. You've got control in the form of like Skyclave. You've got a couple other ones who kind of work and fill that type of a role. And so what you really ultimately find, though, is this. This is just a fun deck to play. And, man, I wish I had it. I don't, but I wish I did. Another of the red decks, just to kind of show you, you start off with is actually this Company of Knights. Now you're probably starting to realize, now that I've confessed I'm actually really a red player, posing as a white player, now you've kind of probably have begun to figure out, why is it that I still have this red-white deck? That's the one you unlock for free. And I've got this white deck, and I've got these other red decks. Now the secret's out. I am at heart a red player. And this deck here, this Company of Knights, it is a phenomenal, fun deck. And of the starting decks, it's one that I would recommend that you would pick up and probably run a little bit longer than what most would. Doesn't mean it's not got abilities to be upgraded or changed, but it's a fantastically good time as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you all have a great day.